Hey, what's up, everybody? The VC here, coming at you with another video about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table, but this is where it's at. All right, it's all about bringing in common sense to things that we see out there. Kind of just point out at some of the buffoonery that we see out there as well. So I think the best way to do it is to bring it to light and talk about it. So you can follow me here on Rumble, or you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we could put it out there, and let's talk about it. All right, excuse me. So without further ado, let's just get to it here. So this is the fallout of what happens when you let Democrats run the show. Right, you let the Democrats run the show with their far left progressive points of views, and let them run amok on things that happen. This could have been our president right there, Kamala, right? She could have been our president. I mean, when you think about it, we should really count our blessings, because it would have just been more of the same, but since she's so far left progressive, it could have been worse right now as we speak, or she's going to crank it up to be worse as we speak. So we should be counting our blessings. But anyhow, let's look at the fallout of what happens when you are part of this progressive woke mob and ideology and all that. And look at what happens. All right. So, for example, look at this here. It's unsafe as Chicagoans sound off about reported migrant crowds outside of Home Depot. Yeah, because where else are they going to go? When you invite them in and they're just loitering around, what do you expect to happen? I mean, that's what's going to happen. This didn't have to happen, though. In all these woke cities, these liberal woke cities, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, Seattle, Denver, right? All these woke cities facing, if not the same problems, similar stuff, right? All because they welcomed these illegals to be there. And then look what happens. They're just loitering around, lingering around, because they got nothing else to do. You just bring more bodies into a city or town, and then what do you expect them to do? Just stay home? Well, no, they're looking for work to do. They're looking for something to do to make money. This is what you invite. All right, this is the fallout of inviting illegals that don't belong here and can't really do nothing except just lingering around, loitering around. And typically when stuff like this happens, trouble happens. Whether it's theft, whether it's just loitering, and this is what you get out of it. All right, let's see if there's more to it than just the headlines. Let's see what they got to say here.
A Southside Home Depot is at the center of growing community frustration. Customers and neighbors say the store has become a magnet for migrant loitering and harassment.
Some residents tell us they no longer feel safe visiting this store. They're calling on the city and on Home Depot to step in. Our Tia Ewing has
Who are
more.
you going to call? Brandon Johnson?
Don, it's not unusual, right, to see people outside Home Depot looking for work, but customers and neighbors say the crowds have grown significantly, now fueled by an influx of migrants. They say it's turned shopping and even just walking down 87th Street right near the Dan Ryan chaotic. Over the weekend, this was the scene outside the Home Depot in Princeton Park on Chicago's South Side, and it's drawing a growing concern. Complaints are pouring in from customers and neighbors who say they're being harassed by groups of alleged migrants crowding the parking lot. This video shows dozens of people gathered near the entrance, many of them customers say approaching cars and following people into the store in hopes of getting work. One customer told us it's become an unsettling experience just trying to shop.
Yeah, that's just overboard what these guys are doing. I mean, to be frank here, all right, so, let's see, in some of the cities I've been in, when I pull up to a Home Depot, not all of them, but there's a couple of them where when I pull into the parking lot and I see these guys hanging around, right? There won't be as much as what they're showing here in Chicago, but there'll be a couple small groups, right? Small ones, 3, 4 of them, whatever, just kind of hanging around. I mean, part of me doesn't really want to go there just because I don't want these guys to be like bugging me. I just want to go in there and get get whatever I need and leave. I don't need these guys to bug me, or just linger around, because I don't know if they're going to try to break into my car or what, right? You never know. But typically they don't really do nothing except they kind of linger in the far corners of the parking lot, and they're just kind of waiting around. So if, say, like someone pulls up to them and say, "Hey, I need you guys to do some work for me," they're readily available, right? Here, these guys are doing in Chicago, man. They're just doing way too much, going up to people, begging them for work, asking for work, and all that stuff. That's just completely overboard. And yeah, for sure, if I was a customer here, I wouldn't even want to come back to this place. I say,
The
fuck that.
men, 4, 5, 6, and they're asking you, "Can I clean your car? Can I wash your windshield?"
Oh, fuck
And
that.
even when you coming out, they like waving their hands for you to stop, like you've just hit them or something. And then they come up to you like they are contractors working.
So
Fuck
how did
that.
it get to this point? Well, residents and former employees say the issue escalated after Texas Governor Greg Abbott began sending migrants to Chicago. And since then, neighbors say trash has piled up. A street food vendor has taken over the sidewalk. People feel unsafe, and little, if anything, has been done to address this. A former
course.
Home
Brandon
Depot
Johnson
employee
welcomes
described
them.
it as a failure on the part of both the company and the
Screw all
city,
that.
saying the lack of action is only making things worse.
They're impeding on traffic.
Yeah, why even
they're
go there,
outside.
man?
It's just so
Make them
many
go out
of
of
them
business then.
where, it's to me, it's
They
unsafe.
should lose
All the
business.
immigrants. You've got the African immigrants over there. You got the Haitian immigrants over there. You've got the Hispanic immigrants over there. At first, it was only Latino immigrants for a long time. Now it's African immigrants over there. Now it's Haitian immigrants over there. And you can't sit here and tell me that there's no way that these people can get their work permits to start working on these affordable housing.
Fuck
The Home
that.
Depot is
How about just send them back? Because they don't qualify for work permits. They're illegal in the first place. And you can't expedite the process if they're illegal. So send them all back. That's what deportations are for.
responding to our story saying this: we have a long-standing non-solicitation policy at our stores. Our top priority is the safety of our associates and
Well, they're
customers.
not doing a good job.
And we invest significant resources in making sure they can work and shop safely. Our ongoing approach includes technology, personnel, and close relationships
everybody say, "Where's
with
ICE?"
local law enforcement
Deport,
and
deport.
elected
That's
officials.
exactly
Now,
what I'm
we do want
saying.
to point out, we did see Chicago police out there at the time that we did record video, but nothing was done about that activity. An email and 2 calls were made to Alderman Ronnie Mosley's office. So far, we haven't heard back. Scott?
Yeah,
I want to
screw
buy
all
your
that.
house.
All right, yeah, screw that. All right, screw these guys. They all should be deported back. Exactly what it says. Hey, looking for a way to a solution? Send Tom Holman to that Home Depot parking lot. All right. So you have that. Let's see what else. So that's the fallout of letting illegals flood the country. You send them to these woke cities because they welcome them, and look what happens. They bother the shit out of you that you don't even want to go back to those places. So screw all that. All right, let's look at other fallouts of this whole. This is what happens when you let Democrats run the show, right? Shit goes out of control. They spend money like crazy. They print money, and they expect us to pay for it, right? So here's another great example here. $5.3 million in default as U.S. resumes federal student loan program collections. All right, so this is what happened, all right? So under Biden, he forgave a lot of school loans, right? Or he delayed payments and all this other crap. He even actually tried to pass it into law, which was rejected by the Supreme Court. It says, screw all that. You're not going to forgive shit passing it through the laws like that. So I think Biden did it through executive order instead. But when you think about it, though, why? Like, you're encouraging to go to school to, spin up their loan debt for paying for school, and then you expect the government to forgive them for taking on these loans and added expenses for going to school and make us pay for it? It doesn't make any sense. If they can't afford to go to school or pay it back, then don't fucking go to school. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. You got to be able to pay for that shit. Use your so-called future job to pay for it. That was the purpose of higher education in the first place, is because when you launch into your new career, you use that time and effort to pay it back, your loan obligations. Alright, so it's irresponsible to encourage taking out loans and going to school for higher education to only be like, oh, it's not free? No, it's never free. You got to be able to pay for your shit. That's called taking responsibility. Alright? My dumbass, when I went to school, I didn't have to take school loans out. I shouldn't, because I was able to pay for my tuition and books and all that. And I didn't really need school loans. But my dumbass took out school loans because I looked at it as, oh, this is instant money. I could use this to, like, fix up my car and all that other stuff. Like fix it up, modify it and paint job and all that other stuff. So my dumbass used the money for those means to, trick my car up, And that was a dumb move. So with credit card, school loan, by the time it was all said and done, it was around $20-some thousand I owed when I graduated college. Did I go there with my hand out and say, like, oh, President, can you forgive my school loan, or can you sidestep it, or all this other crap? No. When I went right to work in my full-time job to start off and embark on a new career path, I went ahead and paid for it. And my strategy of paying for it at the time was pay down the principal. So when I sent in more than the minimum amount, the remaining amount went to principal. And I did that month after month after month for just a year. I think it was like a year to a year and a half. And then that way you can see what it's all about, right? And then, you know what? I ended up paying it back. And not only did I pay it back, I paid off my credit card and my school loans. That was in $20-some thousand in debt, which doesn't sound a lot, but I still paid it off in 2 years, right? I mean, I took responsibility and I paid for it. Sucked, but I paid for it. So I'm just saying that I didn't have my hand out to say, oh, can you forgive my school loans? No. That's what it's for. You take the responsibility, you sign the papers, you got to follow through with it, all right? There's going to be no one around. In your mind, there should be no one around to pick up after you, all right? So that's that. That's the fallout of the Biden loan forgiveness programs bullshit that he was
Fox
doing.
5 is watching your wallet tonight,
Check
and if
her
your
out.
student loans are in default, they could be about to go into collection, and you could even have your wages garnished.
Yeah.
Fox 8's Kendall Green is
Good.
here with how this could affect millions of borrowers
Good.
currently in default. Kendall.
Hey, good evening, Natasha. Out of the more than 262 million adults in the U.S., about 42 million have student debt. And these sweeping changes in just a matter of weeks could affect more than 60% of those borrowers either behind or in default on their payments.
Good.
After a 5-year-long pause on student debt collections, the Trump administration is forcing borrowers to pay up, beginning as early as next month.
No student loan has been referred to collections since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On
Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Leavitt announced on May 5th the Department of Education will begin involuntary collections from borrowers with federal student loans in default. The feds report the country's student loan debt has reached nearly $1.6 trillion among nearly 43 million borrowers, with fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers current in repayment.
Millions will feel this.
The pandemic-era pause, triggered by Trump and extended multiple times under the Biden administration, reached its final grace period in October last year. Since then, the volume of borrowers in default skyrocketed to more than 5.3 million. As data shows, 4 million borrowers are between 3 and 6 months behind on payments. Now, all in that category are subject to have government payments held back, including tax refunds and federal salaries.
Going into default, it takes 270 days, right? You're delinquent if you're 1 day late. It takes 90 days for them to report to credit agencies, but the immediate impact of wage garnishment or taking away your tax refund or however much you get from Social Security, some people live on that.
Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others.
After a 30-day notice, the government plans to garnish wages for borrowers in default, calling the ballooning debt an unfair liability to taxpayers. The best advice from Andrew Pentis, a certified student debt counselor at Bankrate, is for borrowers to consider rehabbing their loans by making 9 on-time payments within a 10-month period.
If that's not doable for you, as it won't be for many federal student loan borrowers, the more realistic option is to consolidate your federal student loans with your federal student loan servicer, and then ideally, to get that lower monthly payment, apply for an income-driven repayment plan.
Now that experts shared, those income-driven loan repayment plans can offer lower payments and ultimately help borrowers get out of the default. But he also advised borrowers get in touch with their loan providers quickly, as non-communication will only trigger more collections. Natasha?
All right, Kendall, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Natasha. All right. Funny shit. All right, see what else we got here. The fallout of letting these progressive liberal Democrats run the country and run amok. And look what happens here. Look at this. New Mexico judge resigns after a Trende Aragua gang member arrested at his home. What? So you're telling me that this judge is harboring
for a limited time only,
gang members from another country?
Is offering epic
That's
savings
treason.
with a special low 30-year
He should be
fixed
deported
rate.
too. What kind of shit is that?
A New Mexico judge resigned from the bench after an alleged Tren de Aragua gang member was arrested at his home. Doña Ana County Magistrate Judge Joel Cano wrote his resignation on March 3rd, but the Supreme Court and 3rd Judicial District Court did not receive it till March 31st. A spokesman for the Administrative Office of the Courts, AOC, told Fox News Digital. Homeland Security Investigations Las Cruces began looking into Venezuelan native Christian Ortega Lopez in January. Lopez is an illegal alien from Venezuela and a suspected member of a criminal gang who was residing with other illegal aliens and in possession of firearms, court documents suggest. 2 search warrants were executed at a home investigators on February 28th, identified as owned by Cano's wife, Nancy Cano. Ortega Lopez and his roommates were taken into custody, and agents seized 4 firearms from April Cano's residence. April Cano is the daughter of Nancy and Joel, court documents state. Ortega Lopez was found by investigators posing with weapons in social media posts, some of which he said were owned by April Cano, who allowed him to hold and sometimes shoot various firearms.
Shit.
Ortega Lopez admitted to illegally entering the U.S. from Mexico in December 2023, according to court documents. He reportedly told investigators he was living in an El Paso apartment with 5 others when he met Nancy Cano. To install a glass door for her, he continued to do a few jobs for Nancy Cano, and after being evicted from the apartment in April 2024, Nancy Cano offered her casita in the back of the residence she shared with her husband, Joel Cano. Court documents state the suspect made his first appearance in a Las Cruces court on March 3rd. During a detention hearing on March 14th, U.S. Magistrate Judge Damian L. Martinez asked Assistant United States Attorney, AUSA, Maria Armijo if she knew Judge Cano. When Armijo said she did not, Judge Martinez said he had met him outside the courtroom several times, adding, "I don't think he would just let anybody live in his property." Martinez said Ortega Lopez was not a flight risk or danger to the community and ordered him to be released. On April 8th, a motion was filed by an assistant U.S. attorney to reconsider Ortega Lopez's pretrial release order. Records from Doña Ana County Assessor's Office say the home Ortega Lopez was arrested at is owned by both Nancy and Jose Cano, who goes by Joel. Cano's resignation letter stated his last day on the job was March 21st. "All the best to every one of you," Joel Cano wrote. "I wish all of you a happy retirement once you are ready yourself."
For harboring.
Democratic Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham will appoint someone to fill the vacancy through the remainder of the judge's unexpired 4-year term that runs until the end of 2026, the AOC said. The Supreme Court has scheduled an oral argument on April 24th, which is public and will be live-streamed concerning Judge Cano, spokesman Barry Massey said.
Yeah, what kind of shit is that? He should be arrested, though. Why hasn't this woke judge been arrested? Yeah, he should be arrested. Should be in prison, not retiring. Yep. Arrest. Everybody's saying arrest. Yeah, because that's just some woke bullshit. Harboring illegal in your home. I mean, yeah, that's just bullshit. And something should be done about that. So I hope there is justice for that and deportations and arrest for that guy. I think he wants to try to walk away with a clean slate by resigning, but no, you can't have your cake and eat it too, buddy. All right, you are going to get arrested. So we'll see what happens here. Vehicle theft trend happening. Has LA become the new Detroit? City sees major decline in film and TV production. Well, shit, that's an easy one. You know why? Because, here it is. When you let Democrats run the state of California, which they are on a 2-to-1 ratio of Democrats versus Republicans, and also that's how they stacked it in government, this is what happens. All right? Cost of everything is up. And you could blame inflation, you could blame cost just in general, but the cost in general is higher than pretty much everywhere in the United States except for like Hawaii. All right, and that's just living in California. And so now, why is there a decline in film and TV production? Well, it's easy because it's just the cost of use of facilities in these cities in California costs too damn much, and it's much cheaper to go about doing their business in other states. Plus they have incentives and things like that that's beneficial for you. So in the end it just costs too much. So that's why they're looking for other city alternatives and other places to go to get the job done. Screw all that. It costs too damn much in California. So that's where it's at there. So yeah, if it becomes a new Detroit, hey, I don't blame it. I don't blame it because you have shitty leadership besides higher cost of living that is pretty much running California to the ground when it comes to homeless, building blight, roadway blight, just everything in general. And that's the part about it that's disappointing here. So yeah, easy money there. That's easy to see. So can you see the problems of why when you let Democrats run the show, this is what happens? This is the fallout of everything that's going on here. All right, so other than that, just wanted to point out some of the facts. I mean, there's plenty more to talk about and look about, but we're going to stop it right now and go from there. All right, and then see what happens here with that. Comment down below, let me know what you think. All right. And again, subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Rumble. Show me your thoughts. Thanks. I'll see you next one.